Welcome to our webinar today, sponsored by TechEdge Dynamics. Our topic today is how to grow beyond your MVP, and very importantly, how to succeed where most fail. My name is Mark Johnson, and I'll be your host today. I'm a growth consultant with TED, and I'm joined by two really cool guest speakers today. We're honored to have Dr. Rafael Kartaszynski, who is the CEO and founder of TechEdge Dynamics. Rafael is a successful serial entrepreneur. He's also had a couple of failures thrown in, which is very important for lessons learned, but really successful with his startups. And he's going to be sharing today some really interesting business perspectives around innovation and the importance of MVP and how not to fail. Secondly, we're honored to have Tom Boinski here. He's also a successful serial entrepreneur based in Los Angeles. Rafael's in Las Vegas. And Tom in Los Angeles is doing some really interesting work around artificial intelligence. And he'll be bringing a new perspective to us today to follow up with Rafael's comments. So with that, the recording will be recorded. The webinar will be recorded today. And so if you have to jump off early or anything, we'll send you a copy of that afterwards. All right, so let's get started. I've just got a few introductory slides here. Shockingly, if you don't know this, 90% of startups will fail, primarily because of market need or poor market fit. This is a dramatic statistic. Although venture capital investments have slowed down in recent months, and we're living in uncertain and difficult times these days economically, this is still a strong statistic that's out there for us all to pay attention to. About 10% fail within the first year, and 70% will fail within the first 5 years. So that's why talking about MVP today is going to be so critical to your success. Next slide. 60% of startups will fail at MVP, minimal viable product. Now, for some of you, you may already have an MVP in place. Maybe it was vibe coded and it was the very initial start, and now you need to solidify that with more infrastructure, more security, more functionality, and so forth. But this stat cannot be ignored that at MVP, where you may be today, or you may be looking at your second revision of the MVP or a second MVP, you need to pay attention to this statistic. And we're going to help you walk through some ideas and best practice today to help you avoid not letting this happen. Next slide. So failure at the MVP stage. So as we said about 60%. Often this is between pre-seed and angel funded and your Series A funding stages, which, as I mentioned, there's a lot of VC floating around today. So we see a lot of startups who are bootstrapped, or they have angel seed funding from family, from friends, and so forth. And not a lot of them are not out raising funds. So you've got to make sure and have your MVP rock solid as soon as possible. It's a critical bottleneck if you don't address this right away. 34% of startups fail because there's no market need for their product. And the MVP process is where most startups pivot, stall, or shut down. We're here to help you today at TechEdge Dynamics to not let that happen. Next slide. So you notice the moon and the Mars on our title slide there. That's kind of a theme for TechEdge Dynamics. And so, I may be preaching to the choir for some of you here, and for some of you, maybe you've forgotten about this, but in today's fast-moving digital world and today's uncertain world, standing still means falling behind. To thrive, we must evolve, adapt, and future-proof our businesses with technology innovation. But here's the thing about technical innovation. Everyone sees the potential, the opportunity, the upside, but when your business is on the line, potential is never enough. I think of going to the moon a second time as we've been there, done that, and we're going to use technical innovation to get there. But going to Mars is, I think, a big goal, a big, hairy, audacious goal, a big stretch, and it's also going to require technical innovation, but that's the potential. And so what is enough? If potential is not enough, what is? It's results. Sure, technical excellence is important, but so are the business outcomes, things like market fit, profits, and growth. And it's true, meeting innovation's potential means navigating an asteroid field. Sorry about that. Meeting innovation's potential means navigating an asteroid field of business challenges that can cost time and money, and perhaps your window for mission success. It's why when you're building the next great thing, you have a choice. You have two options. One, you can focus on your technical innovation, your MVP or your next MVP, and hope it'll meet your business objectives. Or you can get the technical edge, connecting the technical with the business so you actually achieve consistent results. Next slide. So also important is, besides your MVP, is your competitive edge. And this comes from customer experience. So now I'm introducing the idea of your website, your mobile application, and so forth to support your company and to support your MVP. 2/3 of that comes from your customer experience. Next slide. So customers are at the core. So again, talking about your website and your mobile apps, 61% won't return to your mobile site if they had trouble accessing it. 40% will go to a competitor's website if they have trouble with the mobile site, and 32% would stop interacting with your brand after one bad experience. And on your websites, they don't spend, lots of minutes anymore. You have like less than 1 minute to keep them and capture them for maybe a call to action. But the good news is your customers will pay for it. They will pay for a great customer experience. 70% with connected processes are very important to winning their business. And business buyers would pay more for a better B2B buying experience. Really important to keep in mind. Next slide. All right, we're going to switch over to Rafael. I just wanted to give you kind of some alarming statistics there to hopefully wake you up, get your attention. And while we switch over to Rafael, I had a quick question for you. Just hit us up in the Zoom chat, if you will. What is your current biggest technical and or your business challenge? Technical meaning your MVP, could be your website or mobile. Business could be you're trying to reduce costs, you're trying to do more with less. You're having trouble raising funds and what to do with the current money that you have, or you're trying to generate new sales. Yeah, so thank you for hitting us up in the chat, and I will turn it over to Rafael and go from there. Thank you very much, everyone. Rafael?
Yep. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for spending this Thursday morning with us. Yeah, so thank you, Mark, for this great introduction. Let me guys give you the business behind MVP, behind being successful at MVP, and also later Tom will tell us about more kind of technical perspective on MVP, how to be successful in that aspect. And if some of you already saw my presentation and my speeches, I like quotes. So I like this quote from Abraham Lincoln that tells us that you have if you are given 6 hours to chop the tree, you should spend 4 hours sharpening.
Sorry, Rafael, could you share your screen so we can see the slides?
It's not sharing?
No, it's sharing. I can see it. But also talking, we have a comment asking to introduce yourself again, because I think here one person was a little bit late, but I think you can do that, guys.
Yeah, sure, not a problem. Hi, my name is Rafael. I am a serial entrepreneur, angel investor, mentor. I'm originally from Poland. I moved to US 6 years ago while growing one of my companies. I since kind of had an exit out of it, and now I'm in US. I'm building different ventures, different businesses. I'm also writing a book about entrepreneurship based on my experience. I would call it like a international kind of how it is here, entrepreneurship wise compared to Europe. And some other kind of cool information, like a handbook for young startups. As I say, I mentor a lot for Founders Institute, Startup Vegas, Select USA. So I do a lot of this kind of presentations as well. So have a vast experience in business, but my kind of thing is that I have PhD in computer science. So I started as a programmer, as a developer, but then kind of situation and opportunity came up, and me and my dad founded medtech company, so medical technology. And that's how the story began. And somehow now I'm in the US and doing cool things here. So I hope it's like a cool intro about me. And we are talking about MVP and scaling beyond MVP, but also being successful in MVP. I'll be covering business aspect of it, and Tom will be talking about more technical aspect of that. Yeah. So let me continue. Like as I was mentioned, as you can see on this quote, like it is very important. It's imperative to plan. It's imperative also always to prepare, to be. I see it all of it very often, right? But you are very eager, right? You have no new idea for a business. You want to start it. You want to do something. I have a great idea for an app, for a website, right? I want to do it. Yeah, and especially dangerous in a sense. But if you are a coder, right? If you are the developer, if you have capabilities to do it yourself, right? So you want to start doing it. But that's a trap very often. If you don't plan, you'll probably, that's another like a good quote, right? If you're not planning, you're not planning, you're planning to fail, right? Also from great fathers of a nation. So how to do it? How to be successful? Like like Mark mentioned about the reasons for failure. The repeating theme is lack of market fit. But we have something, we have a great idea. Very often this idea is in our head, right? But we very often forget to, and I was in that trap myself many times, but we are so eager on this idea. We are so entrenched in this idea. It's a greatest idea in the world, and we don't kind of crush it with the reality. We don't have understanding of the market because we have our understanding, but we don't have understanding of the wider market. So most important part is understand the market. We need to test our idea. It's the best idea. It's a best way to kind of not fail very hard, is to fail quickly and soon. So we have to test idea with minimal expense. So that's why we have to do everything to minimize our failure risk, to save time and resources. So we can, with the budget we have, we can try different ideas in the end. So how do we do it usually? We can do it with proof of concept, but it's more kind of like a feasibility study, right? So we have an idea for a tech, maybe new kind of phone, I don't know, and first what we need to do is find out if the technology or the new thing we are doing is feasible, if it's possible to do it. So that's a proof of concept. When we are talking about a proof of concept, then we have prototype. Prototype is kind of very important thing, in my opinion. Very early, like after discovery, after kind of figure out what we want to do, it's focused on functionality. It helps us understand what we are trying to build. Very often, it's like a prototype. It's like a like set of screens. If you are building an app, it's like a set of screens, set of kind of previews, maybe frames in Figma, something like this. But also the first, I like this stage because it's like a first stage where you actually can see your idea. Before prototype, everything is in your head. Everything, kind of all the flows, everything like interfaces are in your head. But prototype is something that kind of gives shape to your idea, and it's easier to kind of present it to stakeholders, to customers, to yourself, to kind of to know what we are doing. And then we have MVP, but actually first focus on the user experience. So we want to build something like minimal valuable product that helps us check the market. Is there really need for what we are developing or no? I like this kind of representation on like what MVP is. So let's say we are designing a donut, right? We have a cool idea for a new donut. We have product design. Then we create MVP. As you can see, it's like a donut with sugar sprinkle. But then, because of MVP, because of what I will be also mentioning to you in a moment, because of this market research, now we know that, okay, maybe sugar is not the way to go. Maybe, maybe customers want colorful sprinkle. So in the end, the product is like a donut with, with colorful sprinkle on it, right? So this is what MVP gives us. The very, very good information from the market, and it's up to us to kind of use it. So again, like the biggest challenge I always see, like when I'm mentoring companies, is finding this real user problem. If we have very good, clear defined core problem that we want to solve, we'll probably be successful, because very often, as I mentioned before, right, we are starting with we have an idea to do something, right? We have an idea for how that does something, but then the question is, okay, what does it solve? What kind of problem does it solve? And we can have different kind of problems. We can have problem that has, and solution is like a cure for cancer, right? So it's kind of like, shut up and take my money kind of situation. Everybody will buy it. There is no kind of discussion. Everybody will buy it. No question asked. We can have like something like a pain medicine, right? Ibuprofen or something like this. It's also, it's pain. So we want to get rid of the pain. So it's also good. But also we can have something like vitamins, right? We want to have like take supplements and feel better. I don't know, like we are convinced that if we take more vitamins, we'll become maybe more agile, right? We have more strength, but it doesn't always work like that, right? It's you probably also, everybody knows that when we go to store, we see all these different dietary supplements. And you can imagine how how hectic that market is, because it's not pain medication, it's vitamin, right? So there is not much kind of push to use it. So that's why, like, the bigger problem we solve, the more chances we have for success. And this comes down, to interviewing potential users, interviewing, customers. What I observe very often in companies is, when it's like a young founder, it's a lot of this interviewing, a lot of like this market scoping is necessary. When we have like somebody who may be like a fresh in entrepreneur world, but has experience already from different businesses, or from other work they did, they usually have some experience in a given field. They understand the field very deeply, and then you have some kind of clearly you can kind of understand, feel the given market, given niche, given field, and you can pinpoint the problem and find the solution to it. So that's kind of like what I see is usually like this kind of winning thing, right? If there is something like that, is to understand certain markets, certain niche on the market, know its problems, and kind of find solution for it. What else? What's kind of like next step? What we have, not those early adapters, right? We need to engage those people, like what we can call it early evangelists, that understand us, understand the problem that we are solving, understand our solution, and use them to kind of be beta testers. Use them also to be like first users, first testers, and maybe first buying customers, right? Usually how we do it, we just engage with them, we give them our solution for free for some time, right, to use it. And when we flash it out, when our product is ready, then we can start charging them for this. It's very important to create that profile of kind of like user persona, perfect user persona, who's our user, who we are targeting, so we don't boil the ocean. So we're not trying to hit everyone. It's always better to focus on a niche at the start. Then we have to do market research, right? We have to validate market demand, where we, it's like it's good to talk, right? It's good to talk with more people, do interviews with more people. So not only like our friends and family telling us how great our idea is. It's good to have somebody who is, I'll call it like a devil's advocate, right? Like a kind of like pessimistic person who will look for all the problems, all the kind of challenges we can face, kind of challenge our thinking, because it's natural that we always be focused that our idea is great, best in the world, it will be successful no matter what, but we have to be objective in this process. So we fail quickly, so we fail at the start, not after spending, like a lot of time and money on something that was bound to fall from the start. I will give you an example in a moment. It can be, like online forums, customer reviews, everything. So talk with the market, talk with people. And what's also very important, I would call it like feature creep. I think Tom will also be talking about it. But we have this tendency when we start working, okay, we will add this feature, this feature, this feature. It will do this, it will do that. But it doesn't matter, right? The core of the solution has to solve a problem and answer users' needs. So it's very important, imperative to simplify the features and prioritize them. Only choose those that are really required by the customer and that add actual value, because it's also cost saving, right? The more features we have, the more expensive it is to develop them. So let's focus on those that bring the most value. And like the example is priority matrix, right? We can have on the right, we can have high effort. On the x-axis, we have high effort on the right side, low effort on the left side. We have high impact on the top and low impact on the bottom. So the most important things are those quick wins, right? But it's low effort but high impact. Also, there's also something like major project, right? So it's high effort and high impact, but this may be important. But if it's low impact, low effort, this is like, it's worth to have. But there are also things like low impact and high effort that really, let's not do it, basically, right? They are just like a waste of time in the end. Then, like I will be like fluctuating in what I'm talking between like before MVP, during MVP, and after MVP. Now I'm kind of like before MVP and during MVP. So as we develop MVP, as we put it in hands of our customers and our beta users, it's good to do it like early, not even like MVP is fully ready, just like have some features already to be tested. We have to do those interviews and surveys. We have to analyze what's going on, track user behavior, document analyze feedback. I will show you some statistics about that in a moment, and I'll be like past the MVP stage, how important it is to track, to analyze the metrics. Again, this is important for us to behave in an objective way, not to be carried away by our kind of internal feeling, but it all will be good, right, in the end, because only numbers can give us, certainty. And what's important, right, on the stage, what we should start to talk about, user feedback, overall engagement, but percentage of active users, right? If you have like SaaS platform, if you have like a platform, but we have many users, how many of them are active? How many of them would recommend us to others? There are metrics as customer acquisition cost, right? Customer lifetime value. Those are very important metrics in the end. Metrics in the end to show validity of your idea, validity of your product to potential investors maybe. But like if you are spending if you are spending more money on customer acquisition, but we're getting money out of them, that's probably not a good business, right? So we have to always be always remember about this, that we have to measure those values. It's important to have those metrics set up, to have those boundaries set up, right? Like maybe based on our research in given industry, what's kind of like an average customer acquisition cost? What's the engagement? How long it takes to acquire customer? It's very important to set those clear and realistic metrics. And as an example, what I kind of like promised you, I always like to use the example of Concord. Concord for me is one of many examples of the sunken cost fallacy, right? A trap of sunken cost. We have put so much money, effort, and time into something. Let's put more. And Concorde was a good example of that. It's a supersonic plane. I don't know if many of you know about it. It was supersonic plane that was able to make a travel from London to New York like in 4 hours, 3-4 hours. While we know that normal jets do it like in 8 hours. It was just flying very quickly, but because this technology required a lot of effort, right? It has to be like a special fast, special construction of the plane, special engines. Everything was engineering kind of marvel, and it also was like a showcase of possibilities of Great Britain and France, because it was kind of like a combined project. So it was very important from PR point of view, from image point of view, but it was never, from the start, it was never profitable. It was always losing money. The tickets were very expensive. The amount of passengers it could take was very small. It was dangerous because it had non-problems. It was very fragile. So it was a trap. It was a sunken cost fallacy. It should have been cancelled long ago because it was not profitable. It was not economic to run it. But it was all about the image of Great Britain and France, of having this, this super fast airplane. Because in this race for the super fast airplane, US was also participating. So it was everything on the line, kind of. And it took tragedy when one of these planes crashed in Paris to kind of finally stop this project. It was this crash and some other problems, and finally it was stopped. But it was like it's like a golden example of a sunken cost fallacy. We put so many of this, our effort into this project. Our image is on the line, our PR, is on the line. We have to continue this. No, we have to have certain metrics. We have to have gates. If we don't reach a target at the given time, given level, we scrap it. It means it doesn't work. That's why also, like, going back to the previous slide, it's important to have those clear, realistic metrics for success. We cannot be too optimistic because we'll fail here on the gate, but also not too low, right? To actually measure what is important to measure. What's also important, okay, like we are talking about these features, also important to talk about quality and usability. We need to have like this minimum standard floor of quality, but also, and this is like a kind of like a main subject of my book, is that we cannot go to perfections. We'll never reach perfection. It is it's a lot of examples of people, of companies that are working on a product. They want to make it perfect. It has to be like 100% perfect. They spend much more time, much more energy to do that. And then at the end, it's they are missing the opportunity. It's better to bring something not completely ready, like 80% ready, to the market, test it, and incrementally improve it, but just to lose ground on striving for perfection. So that's kind of like let's have it like kind of like a healthy healthy amount of perfection and speed. This is like a core of MVP, to iterate quickly and embrace changes. That's kind of what counts. MVP is iterative project. It basically never ends, right? Because until we kind of finish wrapping up new features, new things we want to develop, new user feedback. We probably already grown around the core. We are doing some more. So kind of like sometimes MVP never ends. Sometimes we always like kind of growing, adding new features. We have some stable releases, We have some existing products, and we are adding new features. So we have to kind of, again, rid ourselves of this attachment to the initial vision. It will change. It will iterate. So let's remember about that. So what's beyond MVP? Beyond MVP is minimal marketable product, but I prefer maybe the better name for it should be minimal lovable product. Something that, because MVP is, as name says, minimal viable product. Something minimalistic that we can give into people's hands. But when we talk beyond, when we already iterated, when we grew our idea of a product, we are reaching this minimal lovable product, where this is about the love of the customer to our product. That's why I like talking about this MLP, of this love of our customers to our product. So this is something that, you remember the donut, right? This is something that our customers actually want. With MVP, we are testing the closest possible solution, but MVP gives us information what actually customers want. And so what we should do next after this, and this is those statistics I promised you at the beginning. The market evolves, and the same should also, the product should also evolve. So we are continuously updating features, addressing pain points. We are keeping kind of adding values and making our product relevant in eyes of a customer. And statistic: 34% of startups fail because they ignore customer feedback and don't adapt their product accordingly. So this is important part. Refine and take feedback into consideration. What's maybe something that not everyone of us understands: your present customer base is, I think, like most important. So we have to prioritize customer retention and lifetime value, because it is easier to upsell our existing customers that are already working with us with new things, and get more out of existing like a base of customers than look for new ones. So you can see some cool statistics. Repeat customers are 3 to 14 times more likely to buy again. And 5% increase in retention can boost profits by 25 to 95%. So very small effort on the side of customer retention can give us a lot of income, a lot of more scale, kind of. And 80% of profits often come from 20% of customers. So Pareto rule, kind of, right? So, but that's why customer retention and lifetime value is very important. What's important also is to scale our organization and the team. As company grows, the team also should grow, and our internal processes have to adjust to this growing scale, of a company. And another key statistics: first-time founders have an 80% success rate, but those who invest in building the right team are much better, and those also are much well improved. Again, metrics, right? I told you before about those metrics, and I mentioned that they are important. Here is the statistical proof of this. So customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, this kind of metrics are very important, especially for SaaS platforms, which are probably most popular now. And high growth startups are 2.5 more likely to use analytics to guide their strategy than low growth peers, right? So if you want to be one of those that are very effective, high growth, you need to focus on focusing on metrics is kind of like helps your cost, right? Helps your business objectives in the end. Company culture is very important, right? Companies with strong culture have higher employee engagement, and those employees are more likely to be high performance. And it's important, right? You don't want to have like a lot of fluctuation in the team, right? people coming, going, it's important to kind of build a positive mission-driven culture in the company. So that was like from my side, my part about like a business aspect of how to be successful on the MVP level and beyond. I hope that was kind of like interesting for you. Let us switch now to Tom, and he will tell us about technical parts of it. Thank you so much.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So, Rafael, thank you very much for your input. Let's switch then to me. My name is Tomasz Boinski. I live in California, in Los Angeles. We're gonna discuss today, I hope we're gonna see some questions. I will present a little bit about the technical context. Technical context beyond MVP. As we know, scaling beyond MVP is difficult, so there are some important things, factors to reconsider, to remember. A little bit about me. I'm a technical person with strong technical background, with more than 15 years of hands-on experience building technical products, services, managing projects in different industries like banking, telco, and general software development. I'm working with Rafael and Mark for TH Dynamics, and we have a lot of experience working with different clients, customers. So those insights I'm going to provide are from my practical perspective, my practical experience. I'm going to share with them, and I hope they're going to be valuable for our audience. Okay, so scaling beyond MVP, technical context. Let's move forward. Let's start with the architecture. This is like basically the initial idea for every single startup, which is using modern software or technical solutions. Good start is very important. We all need good start, and we're starting with architecture, with technical architecture, which is very important to understand and very important to anticipate for the future growth of our venture. What is very important here? Most of the founders basically are business founders, and this is my observation. I don't have any statistics right now to provide, but probably that's the situation. If I remember correctly, most of the business founders are always looking for new MVP to build something, new product, new service with technical, but they're missing this valuable part of technical knowledge and experience. That's why it's very important, as you probably know, to have a technical co-founder, or being a technical founder, finding yourself a business co-founder, to have this complementary skill set on board for every startup to be successful in the future. So good start is very important. So it's a good start for business founders to have some kind of a backup, some kind of help, some kind of support from a technical person. So that's why here we have this situation. You have to plan ahead. You have to plan ahead your architecture to basically understand what kind of trade-offs you're gonna have solve, because not every MVP will be your final product you're gonna offer in some time in the future. In most cases, MVPs are simple solutions made out of low-code, no-code technology, or very bare-bone custom solutions, just to validate the idea, validate the initial business proposition, value proposition for customers. So there's always like a big question at the beginning. How should we start? How should we like build our MVP? Should we start small with a very simple solution in place, with a cheap technology in use, or we should like start building from scratch in a dedicated architecture? This is always like a difficult question to ask. There's always like multiple trade-offs to consider, like the cost of the solution, potential solution. That's why most of the founders will be it will be very beneficial for them to have somebody for their support, to help them plan ahead and avoid mistakes from the beginning, from the early stage of life of the product. That's why fractional CTO or co-founder is very helpful. So plan ahead in the best case scenario, work together with a technical co-founder or basically hire or like it's very popular, offer an equity split for technical person who will help you, guide you from the good start, from the very start of your venture. Small changes, embrace small changes, because like even MVP is gonna be something in place probably quickly, developed quite quickly. Remember, you're gonna receive a lot of interviews, a lot of feedback from early users, and in most cases, MVP will be under constant development, constant iteration after iteration, increment after increment, sprint after sprint. You're gonna add new features, or you're gonna add a quality of life improvements, or you're gonna adjust, fine tune, or sometimes you will even remove some features from the feedback provided from early users, early adopters. They will even like ask you to remove something because it's confusing. So embrace small changes, and that's why starting in good way, implementing small changes will be much easier. Keep the solution flexible. That means always think about switching to different technology. Don't make it too complicated. Don't add too much features. Good practice starting your MVP is always like starting with one feature, 3 features, 5 features, most important, most valuable features for users, and then validate the overall solution. That's why keeping your MVP flexible will guarantee you're gonna fine-tune your MVP quite soon. With the help of somebody with technical experience, it's gonna be much more easier. Because why? Because your time to market with all those changes, implementations, is gonna be much more faster. So it's not about the speed. It's not about the speed. It's not about like getting this sweet, I like to call it sweet product market fit super early. It's not about this. It's more about being flexible, agile, and swiftly react to the input. I mean the feedback from the early users. Okay, let's switch to another slide. Top 3 practices to scale your product. This is from the technical perspective. So let's assume we are moving forward. We have our minimum lovable product, so it's already, let's say, production stage ready product. You already have hundreds of users. You're evolving, you're adding new features, you're developing your solution. You have a small team. Maybe we already have a full-time technical co-founder or full-time CTO, somebody who's responsible for your technology. Now, let's add 3 very important elements of a puzzle from the technology-wise perspective. So, number 1, this is something to, of course, research deeply after. I'm just introduce those 3 terms, which are very important from the technical perspective. DevOps. DevOps is a concept, technology from the technology, which basically means that this is a combination. Your staff, your technical staff, will combine both 2 skill sets and both streams, development and operations. In most cases, when we're starting, the most important thing before we're gonna do the full automation of our operations, of our development processes, it's very important to remember about removing the toil. Toil is basically everything that we have in our operations, which is creating unnecessary work, mostly manual work, moving forward, copying, pasting, some, for instance, important data from one platform, one system to another system. I will give you like an example, very popular example. Your clients, your customers will submit some tickets, some issues, some claims, or like will submit a bug report or something like this. They're gonna use this through your web portal or through like a submit a ticket, or contact your support or from your chat. And then there's gonna be like a system in place for your DevOps or for your technical team, and somebody will have to either integrate those two ticket systems or manually move tickets from one to another. So basically, start as a good practice. Start with this automation in your head. Remember about this concept, and what's also important. It's test automation. If you're developing new features constantly, think about automating test approach, different automated unit tests, or at least try to have a fully documented test approach for your team to move forward. Another important concept, important practice to implement after MVP is to think about continuous integration, continuous development approach. This is also like a part of this bigger, broader DevOps topic. What's this exactly? This is basically automatic approach to building your new solution, new version of the new software in a fully automated way. We can say we can agree with one click of a button. You can deploy new version from test environment to a production environment. You will, thanks to it, you will automate the whole development process, delivery process, and you will basically deploy changes even daily. For startups, for MVPs, this is very important to make this time to market process time shorter, to quickly respond to your clients and customer needs. And automation of continuous integration, continuous deployment is very important in this case. This is here the focus is more on the development part rather than the operations. It's more about deploying your solution to the production for the users. Monitoring and alerts, something very important. When you have plenty of users, you want to get the data, you want to get insights, you want to monitor your solution, you want to see how it is working on production level. We call this site reliability engineering. This is also a part of this top concept, DevOps concept. Site reliability engineering is all about the reliability of your software, of your product. What do you need? You need observability abilities. You need some monitoring tools in place to monitor different aspects, functions, features of your software, availability time, time to response, how fast your page is opening, how fast every action step of the process of the workflow implemented is moving forward. Is there any time threshold for the user to be upset? Oh, something is going wrong on this page. It's not loading fast enough. Oh, it's not responding. You want to track, you want to monitor all those things. We call this site reliability engineering. We're using dedicated software for this called monitoring and observability tools. And this will keep your product healthy. Your team, technical team, will respond accordingly to those alerts. What's very important here to remember, you have a promise. You're providing a service, a product to your customer, and there's a promise. Of course, there's a value on the table, but also there's a promise of reliability. Some kind of service level agreement. Okay, so if somebody is using a tool for something, and you're the owner of this tool, you're gonna also provide some commitment to functional aspects of this, and also for non-functional aspects. So we want to achieve some actions quite fast or in a given time span. So we call this like service level agreement. We have also like service level objectives. There are multiple concepts behind, but the ultimate goal is to provide the ultimate good experience for the user. That's why you should start monitoring early your solution, even MVP for some in some cases, and define some objectives and some alerts for the team to react appropriately. So those are the top 3 practices from the technical perspective, which we are finding very helpful for our clients, working with them and basically giving their users much better user experience. Now, very important thing for every founder, every co-founder, every startup is to remember about technical debt. So what is technical debt? Technical debt basically is a situation we're gonna find ourselves in when we have something on production. So we have a solution, working flow, live solution, production solution for our users, and there are some pieces, some elements of the solution which are old. That means you're developing, you're evolving, you're adding new features, you're migrating from one to another subsystem like database, but some of the elements are outdated, are old, or some features are basically outcomes of trade-offs, of workarounds, or very quick, we like to call it quick and dirty implementations, like you want to add something quickly because you have a lot of feedback from users. Hey, you should add this function, you should add this remind me button. Oh, that's a good find. And you're going to see, oh, there's a lot of requests from our users to add this reminder feature to the page, to add custom reminder for a date, to get the notification from the app, for instance. I'll give you like a real example here. And then, okay, like 100 users out of 200, 300, they really would like to see this feature immediately, super fast, tomorrow. So you're gonna maybe implement this quick and dirty. You're gonna use a shortcut. Maybe you're gonna use like a out of the box feature provided by a framework, or you're gonna use like maybe not so well designed icon. And then what? After some time, some users which were looking for this feature, okay, they will know, they will understand. But for some, they will not understand. For instance, the icon, what the feature is designed for exactly, and that might be also problematic from the user perspective. And from the technical perspective, maybe you're gonna upgrade your platform, upgrade some core components of the platform subsystems, and maybe this out-of-the-box feature will need some customization. In most cases, technical debt is very, very, very often visible where you have a lot of integrations. And in some cases, your solution is integrated with multiple external components, external systems over APIs. APIs, this is the way how we connect, how different systems interact with each other, sending different requests and answers. And for some reason in the future, some of those integrations might be outdated, and you are getting something different, and then like there's a problem. Oh, those two external components are not working, not talking to each other the proper way, because one of is outdated. So you still need to upgrade integration with the another. So that's technical debt. Any kind of situation where you're gonna find yourself in a situation where there's like a really outdated element in your system, in your product, in your service. What's very important about technical debt, remember to build this kind of approach, this kind of let's say culture and mindset among your technical team, to always book a fraction of time in every new iteration, in every sprint. If you're working in sprints, we iterate our software, our product weekly or monthly. Always book some capacity of the team for cleanup of the technical debt, or for the refactor. Refactor, this is the term we're using in software development, to refactor, to rework a piece of software, piece of a code, some functions. So that's very important to remember, to basically start working with technical debt every single iteration, and please don't allow the situation where you're gonna have a lot of technical debt, and you're gonna basically stack with what? With balance. With balance is essential. Why? Because balance is the constant trade-off for every startup. Okay, we're adding new features, or are we modifying, updating, or fixing bugs or old features? Don't think only this way. I have a startup, I'm building my product, I have to add features, my clients, my users are asking for this, asking for that. You're gonna have a long, hefty backlog of features to add, and all those fixes or refactors are gonna be part of the network of your backlog. No, this is a wrong approach. You should always incorporate some of those refactors or bug fixes in every single next iteration. Good practice. 80-20 Pareto principle. 80% of the work in the next sprint, next iteration, add something new, and 20% bug fixes or refactor. Okay, I guess that's it. Thank you very much. I'm open to any questions. If somebody from our audience would like to ask, of course, questions later on, this topic will trigger some questions, or we have already some questions. Just drop them in the line, in the chat, or yeah, contact us after. Thank you. I think Paulina, we can switch. Okay. I will stop my share now.
All right.
I'm not gonna mute myself.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. I think we have a polling question here. How comfortable are you with AI being used in your daily work or business operations? Very comfortable, somewhat neutral, somewhat uncomfortable, or very uncomfortable? Appreciate you putting in your answers real quick. We'll give you a minute. And next slide, Pauline.
Yes. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes. So thank you very, very much to our guest speakers today, Tom and Rafael. Great insights on the importance of MVP and how not to fail, both on the business perspectives and technical perspectives. So thank you very much. And more importantly, thank you to all who attended our webinar today around the world. I see that we had a global audience. So thank you all very, very much for attending at your time of the day. Again, it is being recorded, so we can send it out afterwards in a day or two. One quick note on TechEdge Dynamics. We've been around for a couple of years, based in the USA and Las Vegas, Nevada. Over 100 years combined leadership experience. And we do 4 things really well. Product design and development. The majority of that is software and a little bit of hardware, but primarily software, product design and development. Related IT consulting, related business advisory as your companies grow and scale and you get into go-to-market, finance, HR, and so forth. We provide business advisory. And what our clients tell us is that we're really good at connecting the dots between your IT and your business objectives. So remember, potential is never enough. Get the results with TechEdge Dynamics. So again, thank you very much. We really appreciate you joining. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are, and hope to see you on the next webinar, which should be next month. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.